Mimi najua Kenya hii, it cannot afford another 5 years of William Ruto.
Welcome back to the JAR podcast, where we break down power, politics, and the personalities shaping our future. Today's question is simple but politically explosive. Is Edwin SIFUNA quietly becoming one of the biggest threats to William Ruto's re-election in 2027? At first glance, that may sound unlikely. After all, Ruto is the sitting president, and he controls the state machinery, commands a national coalition, and still maintains strong grassroots appeal. But politics is never that simple. Let's break it down. To understand the threat, you first have to understand the man. Edwin SIFUNA is not just another politician. He is the Secretary General of the Orange Democratic Movement, or rather ODM. He is the senator representing Nairobi County, and one of the most vocal defenders of Raila Odinga's political ideology. But here is what makes him different. SIFUNA is part of the new generation of opposition leaders who are younger, sharper, media savvy, and unafraid, unlike the old guard who do not rely on legacy. He relies on communication dominance. Now, one of SIFUNA's biggest strengths and Ruto's potential weakness is messaging. In modern politics, elections are not just won on policy but are won on narrative. And SIFUNA understands this extremely well. Whether it's a press conference, a Senate debate, or a TV interview, he consistently frames Ruto's government as out of touch. He amplifies economic frustrations and positions the opposition as the voice of the struggling Kenyan. This matters especially in a country whereby the cost of living is rising, youth unemployment remains high, and public trust is constantly shifting. If SIFUNA successfully controls the narrative, he shapes how voters interpret Ruto's presidency. Let's talk about the economy, because this is where elections are either won or lost. President Ruto came into power with a strong hustler narrative, promising a bottom-up economy transformation, but governance is clearly different from campaigning, and here is where SIFUNA and the opposition see the opportunity. In every tax increase, every fuel price hike, every public outcry becomes a political ammunition. SIFUNA has been relentless in trying these issues directly to Ruto's leadership, not just criticizing, but personalizing responsibility, and in politics, perception often becomes reality. Kenya is a young country, a very young country. And this is where SIFUNA becomes even more dangerous politically. He speaks the language of the urban youth, he speaks the language of the digital audience, and language of the first-time voters. Through social media and public discourse, he connects in ways that traditional politicians often struggle to. Now compare that with Ruto. While still popular among grassroots voters, maintaining youth enthusiasm over time, especially under economic pressure, is not guaranteed. If SIFUNA helps shift even a fraction of that youth vote, he could be decisive in 2027. Now, here's the strategic question. Is SIFUNA simply defending Raila Odinga or positioning himself for something bigger? Because let's just be honest, Raila Odinga has dominated opposition politics for decades, but succession is clearly inevitable. And when that moment comes, figures like SIFUNA will be at the center of that transition. If he successfully builds a national recognition, political credibility, and grassroots networks, he could become more than just a spokesperson. He could become a presidential contender, or even a kingmaker for that sake. And that changes the entire political equation for Ruto. Another key battleground is parliament. As a senator, SIFUNA has a platform to challenge government policies, question executive decisions, and shape national debate. Even when he doesn't win votes, he wins the attention, and attention is power. Consistent pressure from voices like his can slowly erode public confidence in the government, especially when amplified through media. Now let's be fair. Is SIFUNA alone enough to stop Ruto's re-election? The clear answer is no. At least, not yet. President William Ruto still has the incumbency advantage, a structured political machine, a strong regional base. But elections are not lost in one moment. They are lost gradually through issues like narrative shifts, economic dissatisfaction, and opposition coordination. SIFUNA represents one piece of a larger puzzle, but it's very important because it forms a very important piece of that puzzle. So here's the bottom line. Edwin SIFUNA is not yet Ruto's main opponent. Let's just be realistic. But he's becoming one of the most effective voices shaping the political battlefield ahead of 2027. And in politics, sometimes the most dangerous opponent is not the one leading the race, but the one shaping how the race is actually understood. So, what do you think? Is SIFUNA a real political threat or just a loud opposition voice? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to follow, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more of our deep dive into these political matters. Adios.